What's up, guys? Jimmy here from Hermit Style Gaming,
And Bree from Hermit Style Gaming as well.
and we're coming at you with a 2017 wrap-up. We're going to talk about some of our favorite cards, our favorite decks so far that have dropped in the Dragon Ball Super card game, and yeah, let's just get right into it. Bree's going to kind of start us off with her favorite cards from Red.
Yeah, so my favorite cards in red, actually, as you see on the screen, are Further Instruction Champa, Mighty Mask, and Kaba. Kaba, arguably the strongest one drop in any
Yeah,
color, I would say.
yeah, for sure.
Um, just the absolute ability to press tempo at the very beginning, especially for aggro, which has been growing a lot lately in the meta.
Oh yeah.
Just such a great card.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely. Yeah, I mean Kaba, especially against Mecha Frieza, puts so much pressure on it.
Oh, absolutely. And especially like with a perfect example of the use of it is that red blue trunks that topped in Orlando.
Hmm.
He made such good use of that card, and just made sure that everybody understood why people hated that card in set
Yeah,
one.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
So then there's Mighty Mask, and Mighty Mask, just the versatility of being able to +1. So not only do you get the attack off, but then you search your deck for two, and depending on the leader that you're using, if you're using Go Tanks or a green leader, you could search for your Trunks combo card, or for blue leader, you can search Unyielding Trunks and just be able to untap the energy, all of those things, and the versatility of being able to grab whatever of those two cards you need, or even searching just for energy is absolutely great.
Yeah, no, Mighty Mask is awesome. It was funny when you showed me your list because Mighty Mask was also that would have been my top pick for red. And actually, I guess good segue to the next card. FDC was also one of my favorites.
Oh, absolutely, because there's so many decks that can just benefit from the random double strike that people just
Yeah.
don't see coming. It's like, oh, I'm just going to take one damage. I'm not going to negate this. Oh, double strike. Crap. What am I supposed to do now? So,
Yeah, no, and you saw in Orlando, it was everywhere. Like
oh
in
yeah,
Hartford, not I didn't. I feel like it wasn't as relevant, but in Orlando, that card was all over.
yeah. I'm not even that surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, let's go straight into your favorite blue cards.
Yeah, so these ones are a little bit more interesting. I feel like God Charge Vegeta is not seen as much anymore,
He's
but
not.
I remember in set one, this card was absolutely killer.
Mm.
Especially like I think that it could be picked up a lot more now, but it has to wait until till tempo kind of comes back and maybe a little bit of control. Because people just aren't getting to 6 energy as frequently anymore. But that dual attack critical, especially with like an unyielding Spirit Trunks, which is obviously one of the other cards there too, can just be so devastating on the opponent.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were. I felt like at first a lot of people were really stuck on the God Break Son Goku, but I always felt like God Charge Vegeta was really the. I don't know. If I wanted a good finisher, I tended to look towards him first before I looked elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Though in set two, I would say that the God Break Son Goku came up a little bit more just because there's more counters,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Mafuba and
definitely,
things like that.
definitely.
It definitely became more prevalent. But in set one, that card was absolutely monstrous.
Yeah,
And then unyielding spirit trunks, like I was mentioning with further destruction Champa, just the depending on the build, like the trunks build in Orlando again, just being able to go so aggro with a Kaba turn one, and if you have two Kabas in hand, just Kaba swing in with effect, take a life, combo with spirit unyielding spirit trunks, draw a card, untap red, play another Kaba. Like the app, like it can go absolutely monstrous in one
oh yeah,
turn, and your opponent can't do anything about it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, unyielding trunks with Kappa and FTC is just crazy.
Oh, absolutely. And then, so the third one, I don't know if you were actually surprised by this or
A
not,
little
but the
bit, a little
Returning
bit.
Evil Go and Frieza. I just think that card is so good, and it was underused up until Orlando, where it like spiked in use a lot.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so good.
No, it is good. I was playing one of the wise guys the other day on Octagon, and I almost lost because of that card. He got basically a loop of it going, and was just constantly controlling my board. And it was just we went. I think we almost both lost because we both had like one or two cards left in our decks. Like it was a crazy match, and that Golden Frieza was what delayed the game so long.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about it too that people just don't seem to understand is the red Super Saiyan 3 Goku that can't be destroyed, like KO'd by effects, that gets around it, just like the 4-drop Zamasu gets around it. So it just gets rid of those and goes right back to the bottom. And sometimes KOing the card isn't even ideal. Like in Vegito matchups, KOing isn't ideal. Put it back in the deck, you know what I mean? And it's on the bottom, so you can't even really do anything about it.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up too, because that Super Saiyan 3 Goku was one of my favorite red cards.
Oh, yeah. So there you go.
Cool. Yeah, we'll go into some of the colors and cards that I picked. So we'll start with green. So we went with Super Saiyan Gotenks, Cell Absorption, and Sun Goten. I felt like Gotenks was the obvious one. Probably most people and their top cards would pick Gotenks. He's arguably one of the best 5-drops in the game, I think. I mean, because he's technically a 3-drop, because you're untapping 2. He draws a card, I mean, he's too good. He's too good.
Yeah, I feel like with the meta being a lot more aggro right now, he loses a little bit of value, but otherwise the card is absolutely bonkers.
Well, yeah,
set 1, he was great. The beginning of set 2, he was great. I mean, he's still going to be great in all tempo and control decks. And unless the meta stays like heavy aggro where people are winning by like 4 energy, that card is always going to be one of the strongest 5-drops in the game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Goten was my second favorite. I've loved this card, I mean, pretty much since I started playing the game. This card is so good. I mean, he just gets rid of everything that's a problem.
Like, yeah, absolutely.
And what I like so much about it, and I feel like sometimes people overlook it, is you can't stop him. Like, he is guaranteed removal no matter what. There's nothing they can Jocko it, but it's going to go back to my hand and I'll kill something else. And that's the only thing that actually gets it off the board. There's nothing in the game right now that can stop a combo card effect.
Yeah, which is great, and especially with Trunks is probably going to become even more popular with Las Vegas coming up. So just the ability to KO something, a threat on the board or a blocker or something like that you just need to get around late game, and then being able to replace the card is super, super strong. It actually reminds me of the Trunks that's now searchable in set 2 that KO's a blocker, but it's a 1 for 10k. Yeah, so it's kind of...
Yeah, no, for sure. Actually, Nick Brady ran that Trunks in his deck that he went undefeated in Connecticut. He ran that Trunks over Goten.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's still a really good card. It's a little bit more situational, but it's good in the aggro matchup to get that extra 5,000 on the combo. It's good.
Yeah, and just I guess last thing is Goten. You can search it with Mighty Mask too, like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, and then the last card from green that I really enjoy playing was Cell Absorption. This was the card that I thought we had regionals on lock because basically I got the idea from Danny. If you objection on turn 3, you can play it, and if your opponent has anywhere from 2 to 4, basically 4 or less cards in hand, it's devastating. I'd say it swings the odds in your favor almost 75-25 because you're forcing them to get rid of cards that they need at that point. And especially, I've had multiple games, even at regionals, that happened where I put them down to 0 cards in hand on turn 3, and they were like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I remember when you first started testing that against us, and I was really surprised because I didn't see it coming. But then it just became such a good card and gained so much value, and I can't wait to see when it comes back with the way the aggressive meta is going, with so many people running low hand sizes and things like that. If you can, I feel like even if you have a somewhat aggressive green deck, you could just drop that on turn 4 if you already have an established board, and then with like some criticals or something, and just even further guarantee that they just have no cards in hand to combat you.
Yeah, and I also had games where I would use it as a finisher. You know, I'd make them combo out to 2 cards in hand and then drop it, and that's guaranteed win. Alright, so we'll move on to yellow. Yellow has probably been my favorite color so far to play in the game. Pretty much the first deck that I built was Ginyu Force, and I'll actually talk about that a little bit when we get into our favorite decks. So that's why I put Ginyu as my favorite card, the Ginyu leader. I've made so many builds off that. I mean, I've made the Ginyu Force where you swarm. I've made the Ginyu Force where you don't swarm and don't really want Ginyu Force on the board in both set 1 and set 2. I've had the Ginyu Force where you want to go into the 6-drop Captain Ginyu, and then Tricolor. Played around with so many different Tricolor builds, even some of them with red in it. That was definitely the deck that I've used so far the most competitive-wise, was Tricolor Ginyu. And I
feel like you've run that deck into the ground.
Yeah, no, I don't ever want to play it again. I don't ever want to play it again, to be honest, or at least not for a while. I'm pretty Yeah, I'm pretty done with it, especially after getting all the draws in Connecticut. Then I was really done with it.
Yeah, going to time is just definitely not fun. But the fact that he's one of the only self-awakening cards in yellow,
Yep.
period,
Yep.
is really, really good. And now with Mecha Frieza out, there's obviously a little bit more versatility there. But that ability in set one and early set two was just so devastating for yellow.
Oh yeah, for sure. My next card, I guess, is King Cold, and I know you were surprised that I had King Cold on here.
Yeah, I absolutely was. I mean, I know that his effects are really good, but I mean, you just don't see him a lot.
No,
So,
you don't. So my reason is he's the better Raging Vegeta. If you think about Tricolor Ginyu, everyone in set one and Tricolor Ginyu was playing Raging Attacker Vegeta. He's better. He's literally a better card. He's more versatile. He can KO anyone. He taps the card down, and he has revenge. So you know he's gonna kill it. And the reason that I really like King Cold is I used him in my Beerus deck. And I played a blue-yellow Beerus that I'll get into later. But there were times when I had so much energy out, it was so easy to leave 4 open. And
oh yeah.
no one playing Beerus expects a King Cold to drop. And that just sets you up for game. So it's just a really nice card. And then my last favorite one was Zarbon. Zarbon was a card that I teched in a lot of decks that don't usually see Zarbon. I would side him out a lot if my opponents weren't attacking into battle cards often, but in most cases he's relevant, and especially in Tricolor Ginyu, he protects that 15k Gotenks that discards a card from hand, which was definitely one of my runner-ups, is one of my favorite cards. And yeah, no, he really throws people off. No one expects the random Zarbon to drop, especially in, like, I would play him in decks that play no yellow, and out of nowhere, boom, there comes Zarbon, and you can't attack my battle card anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the same value that you can get with like Vados's assistance being able to untap to
Yeah.
protect a battle card or something like that. And in this case, you just don't waste an energy to do it. You just
Yep.
protect it by comboing and then keep the card inactive, and then you're good. And they have to force removal. Now, I will say that I know that our viewers are probably going to be like, why Zarbon and not like Bloodlust or something like
Yeah,
that? I
yeah.
mean, obviously Bloodlust is a strong card. That doesn't necessarily mean it's one of our favorite cards.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. These are just the cards that I enjoy playing the most. Cards that I kind of either caught people off guard with, or I just really enjoyed to play. So, no, definitely, yeah. There's so many cards to pick from. I mean, there's cards like
Oh yeah.
Crusher Ball. You got Mecha Frieza. You've got the promo. I don't think I put any promo cards in, but all the promos are super strong. I mean, there's so many really cool cards that have come out in the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll get into our favorite decks now. So this is actually one of my favorite decks. Obviously, kind of trolly because it's Bobby. But it's actually much better than a lot of people have been expecting. I've taken it to locals a couple times. Completely
You're good at
surprised
it too.
people. Yeah, and they just don't understand what to do. That's the great part.
Yeah.
So they just don't understand, and it's a Bobbity Rush deck. So the main cards that you have to always be accounted, like take account for in this deck, is going to be Kaba, because that's going to be your main way to awaken early. I awaken at 6 with Bobbity. So if my opponent attacks into me once, or if I have, I can Kaba turn 1 just to get myself to 7, and then if I have like a Kaba's Awakening to protect it or something like that, then I can use it again in the next turn and awaken super fast. The next Kaba's Awaken MVP, by the way. Then the next card you really have to pay attention to is the Attendance Spopovich and Yamu. If you can't get the Kaba early, or even if you awaken early like you want to, when the Spopovich attacks, you take the top card of the deck and put it under the Boo Ball. So it just allows you to get to that Majin Buu revived that much faster to get that extra damage and double striker on the board, because that is, oh, as soon as you get the 5 cards under the Boo Ball, it triggers immediately. And so that's like just such a strong thing to do super fast if you can. And then obviously you have the Dark Prince Vegetas, or the Ultimate Evil Prince Vegeta, to be able to, if let's say you're just not having the game you want on turn 4, run over a battle card, and then it'll automatically fill up the Boo Ball so that you can get the 1 burn damage from the revives.
Yeah.
But honestly, give it a try. It's actually super fun. Most of the time you win by 3 or 4, and it's just people just don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's funny. And then the other deck that you liked was the talking about Golden Frieza next.
Yep, Golden Frieza. So Golden Frieza is actually what I top forward at ARG Raleigh with. And as
Ooh, okay,
obviously
nice.
before set two, so this was a little bit different. But ultimately, there was actually only a 2 card difference, and this is what basically still ran. And the only 2 card difference was Returning Evil Golden Frieza. But the versatility of being able to have Bloodlust and untapping energy
Yeah.
with the ability and stuff is just so bonkers, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this leader's crazy. When a buddy of mine, he plays competitively in Force of Will. He wanted to get in the game, and I was still new to Dragon Ball. I was just still picking it up, and this was
Yeah.
the first leader I told him to play, and we were both just like, "This is insane."
Yeah, no, it's super good. And honestly, if I kind of went back to this, I'd probably want to put in like a Death Razor or something like that.
Yeah.
But honestly, I really enjoyed the deck, and I definitely would say for someone that's just kind of getting into the game, like you said, pick it up and try it. It's a relatively cheap deck. I think every single card is a normal card except for maybe Clan of Terror and Mecha Frieza, but that's easily swappable for Mecha Frieza, the Returning Terror. You just pop 4 of them in there instead of 2 of the Clan of Terror Friezas. Because that's just in there to make sure that you can swing for game and not have any issues with their hand or anything like that. Get a combo card out.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. No, that promo's just strong in general. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
go in,
absolutely.
he can pretty much be thrown in most decks that run yellow, and it's it's not really gonna be a bad thing ever.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I mean, the finisher card of this deck is what we talked about earlier, God Charge Vegeta. It is such a
Yeah.
good card late game as well. So in this deck specifically, just for the critical and the dual attack, if I could, I would have loved to fit like the Further Initiative of Champa in here or something like that. But there's just not enough space
Yeah.
for it. But yeah, it's still a really good card.
And one thing with him too is if you can hit that the Sensu Bean on God Charge too, he hits it
Oh yeah.
30 crit 2 times.
Yeah, and then with like you said though, all you have to do with Golden Frieza, since he untaps 2 energy, is have a Frieza's Army card on the board. So you can tap out on turn 6 with God Charge Vegeta, do what you need to do, swing with leader, untap 2, and then or not swing with him, but use his ability, untap 2, and then you can Sensu Bean, easily get even more
Yeah.
energy for Bloodlust or whatever on your
Or
opponent's
even
turn and still be safe.
and I mean if your Frieza's Army person is Sorbet, you can I mean if and you have one, I mean you can swing in Sensu Bean Sorbet, pop
Yeah.
Sorbet, use skill, bring back. I mean it's just
Yep.
limitless options in that deck.
It is. It's awesome.
Cool.
Now, what about your decks that you had?
Yeah, yeah. I'll get into my first two. Let's see here. So the first one I want to talk about is Beerus. Beerus was a deck that I wanted to play from the beginning, and I just couldn't because I didn't have the 12-drop Whis. That's why I went with Ginyu Force. He seemed a lot easier to make, at least from my card pool. But no, Beerus I had a ton of fun with. I think my favorite game I've ever played, at least top 3 I would say, games I've ever played in Dragon Ball was with this deck. I was actually playing Danny on stream, and I can't even remember what turn we were in, but it was insane. I mean, we were both running very low on cards, and I had gotten a 12 energy with no Whis, and we were just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying to win. And actually, the reason that I was able to take that win was because of King Cold. He didn't know, he didn't expect it was coming, and he went in hard, tapped out, and I blew up his card with King Cold, and then was able to 12-drop Whis the next turn. But no, it's a super fun deck. You basically just ramp, ramp, ramp. I know a lot of people that were playing this deck were playing like a lot of blockers and things. I wasn't really a fan of that. I didn't really use the blocker a whole lot. Like I run Sorbet, he's usually just my yellow energy. I can use him, but I don't know. The blockers felt lackluster in this. I felt like the way you stall is a bit different. You ramp and you're able to combo out easily. And because you're not constantly swinging into your opponent, you're kind of keeping them at 4 life. You're almost denying cards in their hand that way.
Yeah, I mean, plus you don't really need it because, like, in a mono blue one, yeah, I could see having a lot more blockers or something like that.
Yeah.
But like you said, with like having King Cold and the Crusher Balls and things like that, Clan of Terror Mecha Frieza to just pull something out of their hand and then KO it with your leader or whatever, furthering denying them options. It's just so versatile and good. And actually, I was just thinking about the matchup that you said, King Cold. You can activate counters to the Whis, but they don't stop the attack. But his King Cold's effect redirects the attack to him.
Yeah.
So it'd be a way to actually get around the 12
Yeah.
drop Whis
Yep,
as well.
yep.
So in the mirror.
Yeah, no, but no, it's just a super fun deck. I mean, it wasn't the most consistent. There were definitely, I don't think was top tier. I would say back then, but it was very close. I would say it was like 1.5 to 2, and it would really catch people off guard the way that it ran. But yeah, so the next deck that I really enjoyed playing. See if I can pull it up here. I think you already know what one is coming. Tricolor Ginyu. This was the deck that I probably one of the more popular ones, and it was popular for a reason. It was literally just that good. In set one, I'm pretty convinced it was if not one of the best decks to run competitively. It had
Absolutely.
a good matchup against, I would say, almost everything. The only decks that gave me trouble were basically like weenie swarm decks that just had too much of a board presence for me to deal with. And then sometimes Vegeta, but usually this deck has a very good matchup against Vegeta as long as you know how to play it. But I'm not going to talk too much about this. I think everyone is very familiar with Tricolor Ginyu. I ran a pretty standard build.
Miniature one Zarbon.
Yeah, the one Zarbon crutch, because he would save this Gotenks. So I can't tell you how many times he would save that Gotenks. And this was my set 1 build, by the way. I didn't post my set 2 one because I didn't like that one as much, to be honest. I like the deck. I had much more fun playing it in set 1 than in set 2. I only ran 2 full power energies as opposed to the 4. I felt like there were just too many extra cards, and I think this was one of my iterations of it. There was one where I didn't play any at all, and I didn't mind it. Not one bit. I know Jordan really liked playing all the negates possible. I liked kind of going a little bit lower on extra cards, on those kind of extra cards, so I could run objection. And in set 1, I think that was one of the big differences from mine to others. I think objection was so important because it won the mirror match. A lot of people talk about how Tricolor in the mirror was just a dice roll to see who went first. Objection took that away completely. It gave you the option to go first or second and still go 50-50 on who could win. It went back to a skill-based game.
Yeah, which is always good because you never know, what's going to happen in the dice roll at the beginning, and you want to make sure that regardless, you have the best possible chance to win the game.
Exactly, and I knew everyone was playing it, so I needed some way to get an edge. I didn't want to just play the deck and go, okay, when I see the mirror, it's 50-50 chance. I don't like those odds.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Cool. All right, well, why don't we go into your favorite deck?
All right. So my favorite deck is actually Trunks. I kept mentioning him repeatedly throughout the video.
Yeah.
I
think I knew that was coming.
Yeah. So this leader is just so versatile with the combo cards and potentials that you have with it. Like I was mentioning earlier, once you're awakened, you can boost attack Piccolo on your turn to try to push for more damage if you further destructed Choppa in hand or something like that, and just draw the 2 cards off of it plus your attack off the leader, so you're drawing 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is insane. Then this build is a lot more aggro though. So this build is definitely it's incredibly close to the build from Orlando that topped. The main difference being that I run Sensu Beans in mine. I don't think I actually maybe this build I didn't have the Sensu Beans. So I actually pulled out one, this was actually before then. I pulled out one Vegito, one one of the Gotens, and then one Result. And then
the green Goten, or was it?
No, the red Goten. I pulled out the red Goten.
Okay.
And and I pulled out those 3 just so that way I could have the Sensu Beans for if I was facing decks with like a lot of ghost tokens or things like that, or the extra energy on taps just to go even more aggro in the early game with low energy counts. So it actually has play tested really, really well for me as well. So I definitely recommend trying it out, but it's a really, really fun deck to play.
Yeah, no, and I think, honestly, I'm surprised he didn't run Sensu Beans, because I've been playing around a lot with that Draft Goku leader, that deck profile that I posted a little bit ago. And I mean, when you have Sensu Beans and Unyielding Trunks in hands and a couple double strikers, I mean,
Yeah.
it's you're looking at like a Kaba and like two of your Gohans that you can play almost all of them because of your untapping ability.
Hmm.
It's insane. So I'm really surprised in an aggro build that he didn't use Sensu Bean because it's such a good offensive aggro card to untap. And if you're when do you usually go for games in this deck? What's your usually like what turn?
3 to 4 typically. I try to set it up to where you're at like 3 to 4 life by 4 energy, because that way I can kind of swing in with Trunks. And if you just don't take it, I'll just combo to make sure that I have like 5 cards in hand. And then most of the time you're going to take the damage. If you're at 3 life, that puts you to 2, and then drop Vegito.
Yeah.
And I can just draw 2 cards because I have under the limit for his ability, and then combo out from there, and he's already a double striker. And if you're at 4, then I just combo further destruction chompo on the leader. And it's really fast. Very rarely have I ever actually even used Result of Training, to be honest. Probably 3 or 4 times total
Really?
that I've used the deck.
So
Yeah.
maybe even try more like a side deck card even.
Yeah, the only issue is that in our most recent tournament, I ran into 2 matches where they just were not attacking me at all.
Okay. Well, yeah,
So,
that's where you need it.
yeah, so then I was
That's
like,
rough.
yeah, this card is great. This is why I needed this
Yeah,
card.
yeah,
So,
yeah. For sure, for sure. Cool. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, and like you were saying with that Vegito too, and especially if you're comboing out, you can still leave that one, or no, not that Gohan, this Gohan in hand,
yep.
if you have those Sensu Beans and Unyielding Trunks. So then if they do manage to defend off that lethal, then it's like, okay, here's another 25.
Yeah, well, so really what I had been finding and playing is that the Gohan is the best against decks that have high blocker counts, or even the mirror. With the 4 free Mai's in the deck, when you face the mirror, they tend to just drop like a Mai or 2 late game to protect themselves, so they don't have to worry about stuff. But if I drop Gohan and you're at 2 life, you're gonna block, or you're not even gonna block, because you're gonna be at even more of a disadvantage. And then I'm just still gonna do 2 damage to you. So you're just kind of getting rid of the effectiveness of that card.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Cool. Anything else you want to hit on this?
No, not really. I mean, the deck's pretty straightforward. It's great to play. Versatility and Mighty Mass to be able to search energy types and get rid of board control and win way earlier than most Trunks decks probably will. Just makes the deck really, really fun and easy to play.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. All right. So we'll finish up our deck talk here with my favorite deck. And let's see if I can find it. This should be the one. Yep, this is it. So another Ginyu deck. Ginyu, like I said, he's one of my favorite cards. This is the Ginyu Force deck that I use in set 1, and I did not know too many people running one like this. If you take a quick glance at the list, there are no extra cards. I didn't run.
Yeah, I remember when you faced me with this the first time, and I was very surprised that there is none.
Yeah, there is 0. There were no Bloodlusts, there's no Crushers, no Frieza's Call, there's nothing. No extra card, and the reason is very simple. I basically go aggro, 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 and at all times I can combo out my hand. And that's it. That's the main strategy of the deck, and I just had a blast playing it. Especially because if you get lucky early game and you hit 1 or 2 of your Ginyu Force, and you can get them down to 4 life pretty quick, you have your FDCs to try and get them down to 2, and then you have your Mecha Frieza to swing in twice for lethal. And it's just really hard to overcome sometimes. Like, almost every time I was going in for game, it'd be well over 100,000. like that was like pretty normal to hit about 100k going in lethal in the deck. I did play around. I took him in and out of the deck. At one point, I had the Evolve Frieza, where you can pay. I can't remember the name. Returning Evil Terror. I can't remember. But you tap 3 and evolve it to get the double strike. But I dropped him for the promo. Rarely would I play the promo. Generally, I'd want this guy out. But no, it's a pretty straightforward deck. I did run 4 Zarbons just to protect the battle cards. I didn't want to lose any kind of board state. Board state was pretty essential to have in this matchup. I'd want to flood the board with the 2 vanilla guys and keep them on and kind of hit them when they weren't expecting it with the random FDC.
Now, with the set two version of this, would you be running the dash pack Ginyus or anything like that to try, or like the tournament pack two Ginyus to just
Yeah.
swarm the board
The
instantly on three?
Yeah, I think this build became kind of obsolete with set two. There's just too many ways to defend against it. It's too easy to work and kind of play around. I would definitely the tournament pack Ginyu you have to run. I think that's the only way to run Ginyu Force right now. The dash packs, you can run them or you can't. I mean, that's more of a play style call. I don't think they're essential for the deck. But no, the 3-drop tournament pack Ginyu is just too good. It's a completely different strategy though. In this deck, I want my Ginyu Force. Really the best ones to have are Birder and Raccoon. I want to hit them early game and get them on board and make them stick. Whereas with the new one, I don't want any of them to get on board. I want them all in my hand so I can swarm. So definitely a completely different play style than what this deck used to be. But I just had so much fun. The first run of the online video battles tournament, they did a league basically, and it was, I can't remember how many weeks, like 6 weeks or something of the league, and this deck actually went undefeated. It never lost in the league. It went against all kinds of top tier decks. At that point, everyone was running Vegeta. I think half my matches were Vegeta, the hand destruction one that Dusty made famous at Gen Con, and it would just crush. I mean, it would just, people wouldn't expect it. You come in and you'd be swinging in, and they wouldn't expect the FDC. They wouldn't expect the Mecha Frieza to drop. I mean, there was just so many surprises this deck could have, and it could just push pace at a rate they couldn't keep up with. And the fact that it runs blockers, 8 of them, really helps in the Vegeta matchup too. If I can get them on board to stop those crits from coming through and keep the cards in my hand.
Yeah, the OG Rush aggro deck.
Yeah, for sure. But no, that was my favorite build from set 1, and I'm sad that it's kind of gone. But I played it into the ground, so.
So now you just got to pick up something new, like your draft coup.
Yeah, that's right. All right, so to kind of start wrapping this video up, just want to talk about some of the events and things that we went to and how the community was so far this year. Bria, I'll let you kick it off. I just talked a lot. What do you think just so far of just the game in general and how events are running?
Honestly, I feel like everything has been great. I've kind of always had like a weird feeling about ARG, based on just experiences and what people say, their opinions on the company. But I feel like they've been doing a really good job with holding the regionals, and I think that they have been making sure to push the game even further. So as Bandai, they've been doing a really great job at advertising the game. The community has grown astronomically. I believe the national group is like over 7,000 people now.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of people in it,
Yeah. So it's pretty insane considering the game is only like 7 months old or something like that. So I'm really excited for the future.
No, yeah, I am too. I'm honestly surprised at how quickly it's grown, and I mean it was just like that. ARG was picking up regional events. I mean, the first regional was only like 3 or 4 months into the game, if that.
Yeah, I want to say 4 months.
4 months.
I want to say like 4 months. Yeah.
4 months, yeah. So I think that's really fast, and for a competitive scene to foster into what I think California, there was over 500 seats. I think they're looking to do in California.
Yeah, no. So yeah, they're looking at 500 seats, just the base rate, and then of like $30 entry fee, and then I think they're having 50 seats for VIP.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy to think how far the game has grown in such a short period of time.
And I think that from when they announced that, been like maybe like 4 or 5 days, and 2 days after they already had like 100 seats taken.
Really?
Yeah.
That is insane. Yeah, just in addition to that, I mean, I've been having a blast, like going around and playing in events. It's kind of funny because the first event that I went to was at our local shop, one of our local shops, Tower, and I think it was just me and another friend of ours, Christian, and that was
yeah.
It. And now you go to local events here, and you've got like 20 plus players at every one. All kinds of new decks that are seen, people doing all kinds of things, new players every week. It's just really cool to see how it grew. And I know, like for me and all of us, like we hit the Connecticut Regional, and the players in general are just all really friendly, really kind. I think it's a really good community. I know some card games kind of suffer from poor I'd say poor communities and people that kind of have egos and are kind of just not as friendly as they could be
Yeah.
in the card game world. But so far, at least in person, everyone's awesome. I mean, everyone's really nice, really friendly. I've met a ton of friends. I mean, I've met you guys. I've met Matt. I've met Danny and his whole team from Canada. And no, it's been an awesome experience.
Yeah, being able to just meet so many people, especially like going up to Connecticut and seeing a lot of the people that, you talk to or see talk frequently in the national group or like the Octagon group or online battles group or whatever. It's really nice to be able to just meet those people in person. And then, like you said, everyone's just been super nice and the community's been really great. A lot of people, even at our locals, when they started coming through, people were just giving them cards like commons and uncommons to
Oh
try to
yeah,
help
I've
them
done
get
that.
into the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I've done that plenty of times. Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's really awesome, and the way the game is set, I think it's really gonna just expand and just really explode.
Yeah, which I'm really looking forward to see.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Cool. Well, yeah, I guess before we wrap up, just a quick shout out to some of our partners and people who have helped us so far along the way. We've got 3XG, Matt. He's actually one of our locals here. We see him all the time. He's an awesome guy. He's got probably one of the best channels out there, one of the biggest channels out there right now. So if you aren't subscribed to him, definitely go check him out. He posts things all the time from deck profiles, strategy talk, unboxings, you name it. He's got all kinds of awesome content up there. We've got Danny Hype. Danny, I met probably just like a month or two into playing the game. I just randomly played him on Octagon, and we kind of hit it off. So we started playtesting a lot together, and since we become really good friends. And like I said, I'm sure you've probably heard of these two guys, but if you haven't, definitely go check them out. Danny has a tournament coming up. He's doing all kinds of really good things in the community. And then lastly, we're partnered with the DBS Online Video Battles Group. We have a link to that we'll put in the description below. If you don't have Octagon, like I know some people are on Mac and they can't play Octagon, or some people just like getting experience playing in person, but they don't have any people to play with, or they don't have a local event for some time. This is a great way to get experience actually playing with your physical cards. You can go on Skype, you can go on Facebook Messenger, whatever video platform that you have, and just play. And we actually are announcing tomorrow a tournament through the DBS group. We're going to have a draft box on the line. There's sleeves on the line. A lot of really cool prizing. We're going to be commentating some of the events. And yeah, I'm really excited to get that going. It's something I've been talking about with the admins there. And now that we're in 2018, it's finally a go.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the tournament, and I personally am more of a fan of like being able to play with the cards in hand. So I was really excited about the online video battles group and being able to do that. So definitely the online experience through Octagon is great. It's been getting better and better with Brandon constantly releasing updates and things like that, just for
Yeah.
quality of life and
Oh
adding
yeah.
cards and stuff. But there's just to me, there's nothing that replaces just the being able to hold the cards and play it. So it's really great, different kind of play testing. Make sure you definitely check it out.
Yeah.
As well as we have a Discord channel too
Yeah.
that we can
Yeah. Talk
talk
about
about
that.
if you want.
Yeah. Go for it. You hit that off.
Yeah, so Discord, we Hermit Style Gaming decided to make a Discord channel for everybody to be able to talk about or talk with each other and discuss deck builds, cards, effects, ask rulings, anything like that. It's also we have Brandon in there as well, the person I just mentioned that does all the image packs and stuff for Octagon. So if you have any questions or suggestions, you're able to talk to him in there and just be able to have like regular voice chat for Octagon. So we're going to have a link in the description for the Discord down there. You can join for the link is permanent. So you can just always open it
Yeah.
and be able to join and not have any issues. So if you're watching this in a year, feel free to join us.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, no, and just lastly, thanks to everyone who's been sharing our videos around and watching. I saw today our Orlando Regionals video hit like 500 views, which that like blew me away. I was assuming our videos would all have like maybe like 50, 60. So the fact that we're getting a positive response from the community is really great, and we definitely want to keep pushing out content and really just do as much as we can. I think the more content producers there are, people making videos, people doing articles, making websites, and helping the community is going to do nothing but make an environment that the game can really bloom and blossom and grow.
Yeah, and I'll be posting up a deck profile or two here in the future, like the Bobbity we talked about earlier, and a not 100% aggro version of Majin Vegeta. So something to look forward to in the near future.
Have I played that one yet?
No.
No, yeah, I was gonna say I don't even know. I don't know about that one. You got some spice one. Cool. All right, well, yeah, that's pretty much our wrap up for 2017. Is there any last things that you want to add, Embry?
No, I think we've covered everything. Look forward to the future and all that.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited. Again, guys, thanks for watching. Thank you for the support. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.
I got the real one problem on my back.